So the power charge indifference adjustment is included in this PG&E added fees. And what that is a charge regulated by the CPUC that, back in the day, PG&E procured all this power thinking that we were all going to be their customer, and then we left. So it's a formula with many different variables. You subtract the fair market value of that power now, and you come up with a per kilowatt hour charge on usage that the customer pays to PG&E. But we take this into account when we're setting rates, so you're still saving money.
So that's our cost of buying out of the system.
Yes, it is. So right now, like I said, it's a formula and overseen by the CPUC, but it is recalculated every so often. And
yeah, I have one additional question. Thank you. That answered my question. I have personal knowledge of a public service corporation, a water company in Arizona. It was installed to service Anthem, Arizona. It was improperly installed. The wells collapsed and sort of the distribution pipes. People have had, on average, from $200 to $300 per month added to their bills to reconstruct this public service system. My concern here is, what kind of guarantee do we have that the rates advertised now are not teaser rate and things are going to go higher at a future date?
Well, that's a really good question. The City Council is really dedicated to keeping rates low. Obviously, we always want to be competitive or we're not a good business model. But
what happens, who's got the deep pockets to support the system in case unknown circumstances?
Catastrophic.
Some catastrophe, but we're all.
Yeah, because you're saying that you're working with other vendors.
But who's got an economic downturn, like we had with the problem with the police force being decimated by the lack of funding? Who's going to pick up the slack here, and what's going to happen to us if the city can't do it, if they simply haven't got the revenues to continue the program?
So we have a financial model and we have a pro forma that dictates that before we do anything with programs, before we can consider lowering rates even more, we have to build a rainy day fund or a savings account, huge reserve, and we're working with risk management to make sure that everything's in order.
The city of San Jose is not generating power. We have no generators or power lines or anything. We're buying it. So the worst case, as a citizen, you switch back to PG&E.
And that would crash the program.
I'm sorry?
That would crash the program.
But that's predicated on what you said. What if the program crashes? And then you said, what?
It's already crashed, so.
Yeah.
Do? We go back to PG&E, I would assume.
And we know how reliable they are. So, yeah, I know, we need the power to track. The TVA, by the way, the Tennessee Valley Authority, which was a public corporation that generates power, distributes it, and sells it to other utilities, it was established in the 1930s during the Great Depression. And it served an area that was underserved and being exploited by financial interests that were draining the people of the Tennessee Valley dry by overcharging them. It was much like, it was a holding company, much like which is operating PG&E today. The federal government looked at this and said, okay, this is what we can do to help during the Great Depression. The company survives today. It has revenues of $11.6 billion from the sale of power. I would like to see the state of California get into this business and eliminate PG&E, but that's my own personal
How this is going to physically work? Right now, behind Tulare Hill, we have the calcium plant, which burns the gas and puts the electricity into the power lines, which go to our transformers, whatever, on the streets, and under the sidewalk goes to our bill and our houses get electricity. If you are going to San Jose Clean Energy is going to buy some electricity from electric solar panels or wind turbines or whatever, how are you gonna send that power into our homes?
That's a great question. So when an electron enters the grid, whether it's from solar or a natural gas plant, it's still an electron. So we can't say like, let's deliver only clean energy electrons to your house, for example. However, that's an industry problem right now. What everyone in the energy industry does is they make sure that, after the year that they procured, let me go back to the slide, it helps. They make sure that 45%, if everyone, for example, in San Jose Clean Energy stayed on our green source product, then we would make sure at the end of the year, 45% of all the power we delivered were from renewable sources, and 35% were from hydroelectric. So it may not be at a point of time during the day that you're, it could be that you're getting, solar energy, but over the course of a year, it all evens out. I mean, there could be many hours of the day where you're getting only solar electricity. And then maybe at night, a little bit of geothermal, wind, some natural gas, but it all evens out over the course of a year. Does that help make sense?
And that switching between those type of energy will be happening somewhere
Yes.
outside.
So all of the electricity, we buy it and then it flows onto the California grid, and that the California grid operator flows it to power lines maintained by PG&E to your home.
So it's almost like. Can I add something here?
Yes.
I think what's really changing is who's getting paid for the electricity you're using. The electricity you're using is not changing, it's just coming from the power grid. What's different is who is paying who to produce the energy on a macro scale.
Well, yes.
So that there isn't a direct connection between and there never will be, with the kind of grid we have, of your house to a specific energy source. You're just getting it off the grid. But by creating this, the goal is that we're creating incentives for people for generators to invest in green energy, and they will get paid out of this program to produce that green energy and ultimately increase the amount of green energy in the power grid.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, the power grid is just a storage.
Yeah, it's almost like I envision. It's almost like a bucket, and the energy, all kinds of energy is going into the bucket. It can be solar. If it all goes in the bucket, and then it gets through there's a spigot, and the spigot gets stolen.
Yeah.
So you personally might not be getting all solar or all geothermal, but parts of it.
Exactly. And it depends on the time of day, time of the year as well. And it's important to note, though, that programs like San Jose Clean Energy have already contracted for 2,000 megawatts of renewable energy development. So it's quite a bit of energy that's already been created.
So you have buyers out there that,
Yes.
I suppose it's an online process.
Yes, we issue RFPs on our website.
And do you have the generators know that you have a preference for renewables?
Yep, they're listening to the market signals.
So there is a possibility that in 50 or 100 years, the coal pine finally will get shut down?
Yes. So California has a goal to have 100% clean energy by 2045, so not natural gas. And energy storage will play a really big part in reaching that goal. Climate Smart San Jose's goal is to have 100% renewable energy, so not hydroelectric, but solar, wind, and geothermal.
Maybe we could put a small solar farm there.
Yes, by 2050.
Did you say by 2050?
2050, 100% renewable energy. So that's what we're working towards.
Yeah, but one of the downsides of renewable energy is visual light and landscape.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that says, yeah, it's a great idea, and I'd love to import it from somewhere else, but I hate to give somebody else that has to look at my little solar cells out there on somebody else's field, and then because we're messing up their environment. Of course, Hetch Hetchy, you have that system where they rape the environment in Yosemite. get 1%.
And Calpine isn't super pretty either. Yes?
A couple of questions leading on to the discussion. Where does PG&E get their electrons today for power?
Yes, so they are also contracting too, so they own, I'll go back to their power mix. Oops, wrong way, sorry. So they own, Diablo Canyon, which provides natural or nuclear. They contract with vendors too, so they own a lot of.
So all that energy goes into the grid, the California grid?
On behalf of PG&E, on what they purchase. So they're doing a good job with renewable energy too. We have to have more. Yes?
I don't know how much of this is in your purview or in the more the climate smart thing, but what efforts are going on to either encourage or mandate new construction being built more energy efficient? I have heard it said on talk shows, whatever, that it doesn't take that much more, 5-10% more home construction cost to make a house 50% more energy efficient. I mean, I'm creating those numbers, but they're not out of line. It's harder to retrofit onto existing housing, making significant more energy efficient or building renewable energy into it. But it seems to me that it's kind of criminal at this point to allow construction to go up that isn't factoring in passive solar, active solar, et cetera.
I can just jump in. There are climate smart takes into account state laws that are coming online that are going to require certain percentages of new home construction to be zero net energy by such and such a date, with the goal of it being 100% renewable zero net energy by, I don't have the number off the top of my head, I don't know if you do, Kate, but relatively soon, probably by 2030.
For new construction.
Yeah.
Yes?
So this is asking for a friend from next door. So there have been reports of people going door to door saying that they're demanding that they see their electric bills, et cetera, et cetera. Your organization is not doing that type of outreach, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
No, we're not going door to door. If someone asks you for your electricity bill, don't give it to them. And if we ever had to go door to door for some reason, we're city staff, you would see our badge, we'd have, city
Who's going to
logo.
read the meters?
PG&E continues to read the
Who's going
meters.
to continue?
If you go total green, is there any chance that at any point in the day, your energy needs would not be met, or is PG&E always backup even if you're total green?
So that's a great question. So we have to forecast and procure enough energy for our huge demand. If any time that we're short, it isn't PG&E that backs up, it's the California Independent System Operator. They come in and then they bill us later for that energy.
So it makes no difference whether it's total green or the regular?
Yes,
one?
exactly. It's still just as reliable.
So I have solar on my roof now, so I'm on the PG&E net metering. You said that I could elect now to go total green and go into your system?
Yes, you can. However, when you join San Jose Clean Energy, or if you join San Jose Clean Energy, then decide to go back to PG&E, you do lose your NEM credits. So your net energy metering credits. And so we encourage people, if they want to join Total Green, to do it right after their true update.
To use up all the credits you have then.
Exactly, so you're not.
Is that something once a year, or how does that work?
So you have when you have solar, you have an annual true update once per year. It depends on
True up?
Yes,
Okay.
when you installed.
Okay, so it's different for each person.
But what we're going to do in 2020 is enroll everyone in many phases so that to make sure that they aren't losing net credits.
Is that only if you have net credits? I mean, we don't have enough solar, so we always owe.
Oh, okay, then in that case, you can.
At the point we would convert, we would have to pay off PG&E probably for what we owe at that point.
Exactly.
So if PG&E goes bankrupt, can we just buy up their power lines?
That's what I'm saying, that's what the state should do.
So it sounds kind of like what happened with the railroad tracks, right? You know, the UP owns the tracks around here, but the Joint Powers owns the ones from Tammy and north, and it was all bought from different railroads. It's kind of like the same idea.
Well, if as part of the PG&E bankruptcy discussions, some cities like San Francisco are moving in and saying they are interested in buying off their transmission and distribution assets. If that were to happen in San Jose, it would be a very, very long process, many council meetings and decisions. And additionally, the amount of money to fund something like that would take a bond measure, so it would go to voters. So you would know. Yes?
About 5 or 10 years ago, I can't remember exactly, my son-in-law told me that I could save a little money by going to this company called Zoom, X-O-O-M. How does that come into play? Will I still be getting my energy through them?
So Zoom is in California. It's only for natural gas service. Yes.
Sorry.
So for electricity, in California, you can only really have a community choice energy program as your choice, or an investor-owned utility like PG&E. So there are only two choices.
But so somebody that could have Zoom for his gas and San Jose Clean Energy for his electricity, right?
And he would remain to a PG&E customer for the transmission and distribution portion.
Of both, right? Even the Zoom energy must be going to PG&E.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Any other questions?
Thank you for this.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you. And I will get back to some links for you.
You're welcome. Yes, right.
Thank you so much.
Are we in a group meeting? Or do we have a-
Hey, Warren.
Go.
Hello, everybody. We're going to adjourn the meeting here in a second. But we're not done yet. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, before everybody leaves, the Santa Tom's Camera Project has formed a website, and it's called Safer San Jose, SAFERSJ.com. And if you want to find out what's happening with the camera project, go on there. You can input your email and then get information directly as it becomes available. As also you'll know when the meeting in April, which is still hasn't been set, but is coming up, which was too early in live Vanessa. So I just want everybody to be aware of that. Thank you.
The Los Paseos neighbors, did you get a chance to read the minutes as we walked in the door? I don't see anybody.
I'm willing to say I did, and I moved to approve them.
You approve them?
We're supposed to do
that? You weren't supposed to do that. So I can send it out by email, or we did a pretty good job on the minutes. Anybody wants to approve it right now?
I moved it.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I second.
Anybody else from LPNA that does not want the minutes approved? Okay. Thank you very much.
Do you know when's the next meeting, Greg?
May 23rd.
May 23rd?
And we'll come up with an agenda. If you have anything particularly you'd like to talk about, let us know.
Yeah, if you have a concern or something you'd like to see addressed at that meeting, let us know.
I've only come to the last two today meeting, but my neighbors that are on Great Oaks Water